Okay, welcome back. We are Just Math, y'all. Here we go. We're going to start 10-5. We are doing rationalizing radical expressions. Okay, there is a rule in math, or should with dealing with radicals, that basically says you can't have a radical in a denominator. For most of the mathematicians, it really doesn't make sense. So for you, whatever, you just do what you're told. So I get it. So bottom line is we can't have a radical in the denominator. So we're going to do something about it. Now we've got two types of problems that we're going to be looking at. One of them is a regular plain fraction with a radical in it, and the other one is a fraction with a binomial denominator that contains a radical. Okay, so we'll treat these a little bit different, but here is how we'll do it. These are fractions. So if you understand fractions, you know that if I'm going to multiply something in the numerator, I got to do it in the denominator and vice versa. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to rationalize this. We're going to multiply on the first one. We're going to multiply the numerator and the denominator by that radical that's in the denominator. Okay, and so that's going to give me 10 square roots of 7 over, technically, the square root of 49, or if you think about it in terms of getting out of the house, they get out of the house, and it's just a plain 7. So we have 10 square roots of 7 over plain 7. Let me write that a little different. Okay. You could look at it however you want to. That's 49, the square root of 49. And that's going to give me 10 square roots of 7 over plain 7. And that is rationalized. Okay, that's what we want to do. That's for a plain fraction. You multiply the numerator and the denominator by the radical in the denominator. All right, so now here's your, the crazy mama analogy for this guy. All right, the square root of 7 has to get out of this house. He's going crazy. He's tired of being on quarantine, but he can't go out by himself. So he calls up his buddy, say, hey, buddy, come on over. Bring your twin with you so they can stay at home, with my sister upstairs. And there we go. We get out of the house, and they have to stay home. So there's your silly analogy for that one. Let's look at another one like that. This one we'll do another one. We'll say this one says 5 over the square root of 3. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the square root of 3. That's going to give me 5 times the square root of 3 over the square root of 9. And that simplifies. The square root of 9 is plain 3. So I have 5 square roots of 3 over plain 3. And that's how you rationalize one. All right, let's look at the binomial denominator. It works different. This one, we're going to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate. Okay, now we just learned about the conjugate in the previous videos. The conjugate of 7 plus the square root of 3 is going to be 7 minus the square root of 3. And again, whatever we do, got to do also to the top. And so this multiplication is going to be a little more complicated. I'm going to do the denominator first because it's the harder one. Okay? All right, so I'm going to FOIL out the denominator. That's going to give me a 49 minus 7 square roots of 3 plus 7 square root of 3. Those cancel just like they're supposed to. Minus the square root of 9. So I have 49 minus 3, which is 46. That's my denominator. That's the whole point, is you can't have a radical in the denominator. So the denominator, I multiply by the conjugate, and I get a whole number. What do you do with the numerator? On this one, we're just going to distribute. That's going to give me a 21. And then I'm going to get minus 3 square roots of 3. And that is my answer. Let's try another one. Okay, so here we have some more. All right, so for this first one, we have a single fraction. So I'm going to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the square root of 3. That's going to give me the square root of 30 over 3. Now, you have to think about it. Can I reduce that? No, absolutely not. Let's talk about this. Remember, that radical is stuck in the house. Remember, they can't get out. They can't. They don't have internet. They can't take internet classes. They don't get to watch YouTube. Okay? That square root of 30 does not get to talk to, play with, multiply with, divide with, hang out with, think about with anything or anyone unless they're in the house. Okay? You cannot multiply, divide, or anything. The 3 is outside, the 30 is inside, and they cannot do anything. All right, so this is it. That is the final answer here. That's it. We'll do this one over here. 3 square roots of 2 over, that's going to give me plain 2. I skipped that step, so let's think it through. That's going to be the square root of 4. That's going to break. The 2's get out. 2 is out. Nobody left at home. Same thing here. This was the square root of 9. The 3's get out. Nobody's left at home. All right. This one's going to be slightly different. We're going to do the 2 and the 2. And we'll get a negative 6 square roots of 2 over, again, that'll be the square root of 4. The 2 gets out. All right, but now look what we have. We have 2 of them that are both out. And if they're both out, they can play together. So we've got, in this situation, we've got a negative 3, because that's what that would simplify to, square roots of 2. So that one is the final on that one. All right, I'll do this next one on the next video.